My guest tonight has appeared in numerous films, including Footloose, Mystic River, and JFK. Now you can see him in the Showtime series City on a Hill. Thrilled he's joining us. Please welcome our friend Kevin Bacon. Kevin, how are you?
I'm doing okay.
How are you handling the quarantine situation? Are you finding that you are doing things now that you've never done before?
Yeah, I definitely am finding that I'm doing things I've never done before. You know, I've done a certain amount of cleaning in my life, but the truth is that now we're in this situation where clearly we don't have anybody to, to help us with the cleaning. We clean all day long.
Yeah.
We do it dawn till dusk. The laundry, I literally just cleaned the toilets before I put on my jacket. It's
Kevin, that's something we didn't need to know. We didn't need to know. Hey,
no, I wash my hands within an inch of their life. Believe me.
I love that I love that on your to-do list it said 1, clean toilet, 2, talk to Conan.
You gotta plan your days. You gotta plan your days, man.
You're in this situation. I think I'm in this situation too, where if you go out in the world, people usually want a selfie. You're probably finding that has kind of gone away. It's
over.
It's
the selfie is over.
Yeah.
You know, listen, we were taking a walk the other day. This was actually probably about 2 weeks ago. And Kira said to me, "Hey, have you noticed that nobody stops you for selfies anymore?" I said, "Yeah, that's social distancing."
Yeah, no, but also I feel like even before all this happened in our other lives, I have the kind of face that says, he looks sad, I want to go take a picture with him to cheer him up. Whereas you being in the movie business, you can sometimes probably have more of that, that thing Jack Nicholson has where his very expression can mean don't come near me. Do you know what I mean? Which I've never mastered that. I don't have that. But do you have that? Are you able to do that sometimes?
I do, and I don't even really know. And it's not really even something that I'm consciously aware of. My kids and my wife will tell me that I have this kind of like, it's like built-in social distancing in my face.
Do you think that maybe that comes from your Philly side? I know that you're originally from Philadelphia. Philly is tough, and sometimes you probably are able to access on a genetic level your Philly side of Kevin Bacon.
I think that's true. Philly definitely has a kind of like don't mess with me sort of vibe, and certainly growing up, there were times when really not out of any kind of courage, but really out of terror, I would have to put that face on if I was walking around in the hopes that I was going to, stave off an attack.
Hey, if it works for you, if you have a face that can defend you, good for you. I don't have that. Do you ever slip into a Philly accent when you're talking to people?
Oh yeah. My friends will tell me, what just happened? How come you're talking like that? All of a sudden you're going like, what's going on with you? Yeah, I do. It's a weird accent because nobody really does it. Like people don't do, you don't grow up hearing it in movies. You hear Boston, you hear New York, everyone grew up with, whatever, The Godfather and, all the Scorsese stuff. But Philly is like rarely done. And I always like to have a conversation between two guys where he's going, hey, where are you going for lunch? I'm going down to Wawa. What are you going to get? I don't know, hoagie and Coke. Really? What kind of hoagie? I don't know, cheesesteak hoagie, maybe, peppers and onions. What you're drinking Coke? No, I mean diet. What, Diet Coke? You on a diet? No, I'm not a diet. I'm just drinking Diet Coke.
There's a movie right there. That is the opening scene. Whenever I hear a Boston accent in a movie, because I grew up in Boston, I'm shocked at how many times it sounds like a cartoon caricature of a Boston accent. Like The Perfect Storm. There's a part where the ship's heading into the storm, and I think some woman says, "It's headed into the jaws of the monster." And I'm just like, oh my God. To me, that's
Well,
more terrifying than the storm.
listen, I've done probably 6 Boston characters, and I'm doing a Boston character now, and I can tell you that I I have given myself over to the reality that no matter how good your Boston accent is, people from Boston are never gonna like it.
No, no,
It's just that's just the thing. And like
no.
there was a time when I was kind of like, well, maybe, maybe I'll be able to make the people of the greater Boston area happy this time. And then I finally just gave up and said, well, I'll just, I just got to do it.
The people of Boston don't want to be happy. That's the trick. They're not looking for that. I'm just curious, of all the roles that you've played, is there one that you hear about the most or that has changed your life the most?
Well, I it's funny because I think there's a couple of like kind of turning points, certainly Footloose was a big turning point
Sure.
for me. And then I got this part in JFK, and that really was, when it came out, I felt a real shift. And I think the shift was that it was such a strong character, and I had always thought of myself as a character actor, but I think because of Footloose, people kind of thought of me as like a pretty boy kind of, pop
Yeah.
star kind of thing,
Yeah.
and it's not really who I am, and so JFK was really important.
Do you get people reciting lines from that movie to you?
Yeah. People say lines to me from movies that I don't even remember sometimes. They'll go like, hey, pass the salt. And I'll be like, what? I don't even know what you're talking about.
We all remember you in Pass the Salt.
JFK was crazy. We had this scene where it's very, I use a lot of really foul language in it.
That's okay. We're on a Zoom right now. So you
yeah,
can
right, okay. Back then there was the airline looping that you had to do, which you had to find a phrase that would fit with your lips for every single curse that you would do. And it was always this kind of challenging sort of thing. And I'll never forget, there's a scene where I'm talking to Kevin Costner and I'm saying, you don't know shit, Mr. Garrison, because you never been. And
yeah.
If you look at my lips, it's like, it's kind of like, what are you going to put in there? We're sitting around on a looping stage and everyone's like, what could it be? And the first thing we have to change is the shit. So that has to become squat, right? That's an easy one.
Sure, sure.
But it's pretty tough to figure out. So I ended up saying, you don't know squat, Mr. Garrison, because you've never been loved by a man. So if you ever see the clean version of JFK,
yeah, you don't squat, Mr. Garrison, because you never had to mow the grass. I'm like, what? Let's talk about City on a Hill. You got a giant mustache for this project. I know that you guys are probably held up right now on production, but does the mustache, it clearly comes off when you're not working.
Well, yeah, when it looked like it was going to be a while before we were going to be back at work. And, I did this weird thing where I shaved it and then started to let it grow back.
Right.
And it makes no sense at all. But if you remember, back in the old days, there was this thing where if you light a cigarette, then the bus comes because it means that you're never going to get to finish. So that was my mentality. My dream is that we go back into production and our crew has their jobs back, and we've we've come out of the other side of this thing before my mustache is ready. That's my dream.
Right. That's
so
good.
It was a weird sort of like roll of the dice. I'm gonna take it off, and plus my wife, listen, dog lover. She is very, very supportive of whatever thing I have to be doing with my hair or my face or whatever. But it's kind of tough for her to live with a porn stash for like 6 months.
Look, it starts off as very erotic and then the mystery fades. Let's face it.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about this great I Stay Home For campaign that you're doing, which has really caught on. Tell us how that got started.
it became pretty clear to me pretty quickly that the one thing that the virus really, really didn't like at this point was social distancing and being, us isolating ourselves. So we came up with this hashtag, I Stay Home For. And it was a very simple idea, which was I just held up a poster and said, I stay home for Kira Sedgwick, because the idea is that, you can feel okay, but you can go out and somebody can get sick and somebody else can get sick, and that person could be connected to somebody that you really care about, whether it's someone's father or grandmother or child or whatever. And, this is a frustrating situation because we want to have something that we can do. And there are a lot of people who are doing heroic work who can't stay home, medical workers and first responders, and even, the mailman and the people that are delivering food, et cetera, et cetera. But for those of us that can stay home, this seemed like a pretty simple thing that we could try to do.
Sure.
And the other piece of it is that the reason that I was the sort of became the kind of face of it initially is just because of the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, because I've always felt that you need to take me out of the game. Like if the game has nothing to do with me, which it really doesn't, it's
Right.
really the idea that we are connected. And the coronavirus is kind of a terrifying example of that.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, we see now that the connections between people are really, really very powerful, and we're all really hungry for that. I don't know about you, but I'm spending time Zooming with my family, reaching out to people that I haven't spoken to for a really long time, checking in, because even though we're isolated, we're hungry for connections.
Yeah. Well, what I'm doing is I'm having my manager call everybody to check. And I'm told they're all doing really well. But no, I know what you mean. I'm doing the exact same thing. I think we're all doing that now. And I wanted to throw in my support for your campaign, because I think it's a really cool idea. What I'm supposed to do is write out hashtag I Stay Home For. My first draft was also Kira Sedgwick.
She's already been done.
I know. I understood that you have some connection with her that I guess is more important than mine. I don't personally get it. I just want to say my parents. I stay home for my parents because my parents are up there, and that's who I think about in this time, in this crisis. I'm staying home, and I want to encourage other people to stay home because I want to keep people of that generation safe, because they're the most vulnerable. So to me, that's what I'm staying for. They're doing well. They're doing well so far, and they really love that I'm staying away from them. That's their favorite part, because they have a lot of kids, and I was never the favorite. So very good. Let me make sure I mention that season 1 of City on a Hill is available on Showtime On Demand, and there's never been a better time to catch up on these great shows that are out there on streaming. It is a golden age of streaming. City on a Hill is terrific. So check it out now while you're sitting at home waiting for your Postmates delivery. And join in on the hashtag I Stay Home For campaign on social media. And you can learn more about Kevin's philanthropic work at 6degrees.org. It's an organization that's doing a lot of good. Kevin, thank you very much for doing this.
Thanks so much for having me. And, hopefully next time we see each other, it won't be on Zoom.
I'm told I actually look better in Zoom. This might be the way you prefer to talk to me next time. So thank you for being here, Kevin, and take care of yourself, and my best to Kira.
Back at you, man.